Hey guys, this week we create a stripy drip cake with a model of Stitch. Firstly, this was my daughter's cake, made in a bit of a rush before our holiday, and there's lots of parts that teach you what not to do. Here I have my 5-inch cake filled and stacked and given a rough coat of white ganache. The tutorials for baking the cake and how to make white ganache are linked below. You can see I have a straw down the centre. This was just to hold it in place until the ganache set. It was a very hot day and the cake was all wobbly due to the height. Now I've got some white ganache in a bowl and I'm just adding some blue gel colouring. All the items I use are always linked in the description box. I also don't usually wear nail polish, but this was my daughter's cake, so I could get away with it. Coat the sides of your cake with your blue ganache. Here I have a metal scraper. These little protruding rectangles will create the striped effect. There are different types of these scrapers for thin stripes, wider ones, and all types of different patterns. Keep your scraper on the board and start to scrape off the excess ganache. You will see the stripes starting to emerge. Anywhere where there's bits missing, you can fill in the spots with extra ganache. I've just put it into a piping bag to make it easier. Then go around again. You can perfect this by spending more time on it, but I was against the clock, so I went straight into colouring another batch of ganache, this time with purple gel. Put this into a piping bag to fill the stripes in between. Now take a completely flat scraper and start to take off the excess. Again, fill in any areas that need it. Once your stripes are all pretty much filled, heat up your metal scraper to smooth the surface. Now this is a tip on what not to do. I kept going and going and it made some of my stripes wider than the others. Just take it off very lightly to help keep them uniformed. Now cover your board in sugar paste. I'm using pink and I'll leave the full tutorial for the toilet seat method linked below. As you'll see, I removed the straw and just filled the hole in with excess ganache. So I didn't have enough white ganache left to make a pink drip to match the board, so I just deepened the purple ganache I used and added a little more cream to make it runnier. I popped it in a piping bag and started to drip. As I glanced at the camera to make sure that it was still filming, I felt the end of my piping bag block up. Before I knew it, it shot out at an angle and all over the board. This will now be the back of my cake. Fill in the top of the cake and spread it out with a knife. Whilst the drips are still tacky, add a few sprinkles here and there. I used silver strands, Wilton pineapples and hot pink balls. Usually I make my figures straight onto the cakes, but as the drip is going to take a while to dry and I don't have the time to wait, I'm going to make it on this polystyrene block. Using some blue Renshaw's paste, I'm rolling a teardrop for the body and flattening the top slightly. Push a skewer down the centre to add support. His leg is made from rolling one end and flattening it against the worktop. Then leave a space in the middle and start to thin out the other end. It's a bit like a bumpy sausage. Cut it at an angle so it will fit against the body and press in to separate the toes with a Dresden tool. Stick this to the body with water and repeat the process for the other leg. Indent a hole into the top of each toe to place the nails in. I'm rolling a little teardrop shape for the tail because I always forget to add them, so I'm doing it now. For the head, I'm using a polystyrene egg. His head is more of an oval shape than a circle, so I'm using the egg and just chopping off the very tip to make it as close as possible to the shape. Then push this egg into a ball of the same blue paste, fully encasing it and rolling it between your hands to get rid of all the seams. Gently push the head down onto the kebab stick. With the Dresden tool, mark in a long line for his mouth, which curls up slightly at each end. With the larger end, hollow right underneath the lip so the top lip sticks out more than the underneath. Add a little dot so you know where the nose will go, and then start to draw in the eyes. Once you have the right shape, press all along inside of this with the soft end of your tool so it steps in to create a recess. Do the same for the other side. Roll out a turquoise paste quite thin. I'm just eyeballing a sort of razor shape or potato peeler shape. Dampen below the lip and down the centre of the belly. Place your potato peeler shape along the bottom lip and down onto the belly, trimming it all to size and cleaning up the edges with your finger. Add in some little fur lines on the chest and a line on the bottom lip. With the same turquoise paste, cut out a rough shape of the eye. Don't worry if it doesn't fit, you can gently stretch the paste across the water to meet your lines to get them all flush. Now add another recess in this turquoise paste for the black pupils and do the same process. Catch lights can be added using tiny white balls. The nose is a darker navy colour and I'm just pushing on a soft triangle shape. Draw a line below this to meet the lip and also a few wrinkle lines above it. Don't forget the nostrils too. Whilst we have this colour out, add small balls to the holes we made on the feet for his claws, and also circles on the base. For his front legs, flatten one end of a sausage and stand it up straight. Trim the flattened area into a thumb and 3 fingers. Slim out the centre of the arm and chop the top off to the right height. Attach this to the top of the body with water and bring it down to sit in between the 2 back legs. Also add dots to the fingers so you're able to add the claws later on. Now for the ears. I've bent a small piece of wire in a curved 90-degree angle. Place your curve into some blue paste and cover it over, encasing it inside. Lay over some purple paste, sticking it with water. Gently cut out your ear shape, feeling for where the wire is in the centre. Smooth all of the edges of the ear flat with your finger and cut out the tiny notches he has missing. Poke a spare wire into the head to make a hole in the polystyrene and then push the ear wire inside it. Smooth the paste on the back of the ear onto the head to hold it, then manipulate the ends of the ear until they curl backwards a little. Indent the centre of the ear where it meets the head and leave him to set. The next day, the ears had firmed up and I'm just adding little spikes of paste to the tops and bottoms to make it look like his ear folds. Also add little spikes of paste to his head for hair. Now his body is set and the drips have set, I can place him on top. You can now add his little front claws. If I'd have done this beforehand, I would have probably snapped them all off, placing him on the cake. Luckily, I always have some birthday signs to hand, and I chose this lilac one to quickly finish it off. I was totally done with this cake and just wanted to quickly get it completed. I mean, I didn't give Stitch his eyebrows or the pattern on his back. It should have had pink drips instead of purple, and it also should have had neat stripes. But not every cake goes to plan. Here she is with her cake before his ear was then knocked off. It was one of those cakes where you wondered just how you managed to do this for a living. Hope you enjoyed it anyway and hopefully learned from my mistakes. Don't forget to leave me a comment and I'll see you again next week. Bye guys.